Hi, it's Nicole. I'm just wanting to touch base with everyone, say hi. We're about to head off again tomorrow to our next location, but yeah, just a few tips on how to get a property through council repossession auctions. My video that I put up about our $50 block of land has generated some interest, so I just wanted to go into a bit more detail about how that all happened as far as the auction goes. So the local council where I'm from had a repossession auction for properties with unpaid rates. So you had to be connected to the community to find out about it, for starters. But I do know that a lot of councils hold these auctions regularly. So if you're living in Newcastle or any of the bigger places, they do have these auctions from time to time. Obviously the property prices will be higher in the more metro areas, so you know, but you still could get a bargain. You know, you still could get something that is worth a lot less than if you went and bought on the open market. So with the auction that I was part of, once I found out, I had to contact the council, find out which real estate agent they were using. Then I went into the agent in Broken Hill and registered my interest. I was given a number and all the information about the blocks that were, and not just blocks, it was houses as well that were coming up for sale, and those properties were in White Cliffs, Menindee, Ivanhoe and Wilcannia. So obviously I went for the Wilcannia properties, and then we did our homework. We spent a couple of days prior to the auction driving around town, checking out every property, crossing off the list because there was over 60, crossing off the ones that we definitely didn't want to bid on because we knew on the day that it would be go, 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 and we wouldn't have time to stop and think. It's one of those things where we had to be a little bit prepared. We had no idea how much properties we're going to go for. We did have some money put aside and we were hoping we would get a bargain. We were thinking maybe around the $2,000 mark. So my next tip is for all you mob out there who want to get into the property market. They had restrictions on this. If you're an investor coming in without connections to the community, you couldn't bid, you couldn't be part of it. So the idea is you need to be Johnny on the spot. You need to be connected to your local community where you're from. You need to be on the council Facebook site and keep your ear to the ground. They don't happen every year. It happens every couple of years, and usually they wait until they have enough to justify, you know, the fees involved in putting a lot of properties to auction at once instead of doing a random block here and there. So for us, it has given us our freedom. We now have a debt-free block of land that we can retire on. We can use as a base, we can travel, we're not paying big rent anymore. My business that I have been setting up for the last couple of years has also given us the freedom because I can work from anywhere, and Anthony is able to travel and he can be owner builder and build our property. So yeah, it's kind of exciting and crazy. Like, this was not what we expected. We honestly thought I would end up with an old house that needed a bit of renovation, and we didn't have the foresight to really think about how much this could change our lives for the better. I really am excited for what's to come because I have no idea what to expect. I do know that I love everyone there, and I've, you know, been travelling back and forth between Wilcannia and Newcastle for quite a few years now, and yeah, I just can't wait. I'm so excited. So hopefully the tips that I've given can help you figure out a way to, you know, find a piece of property for yourself without having to slave your guts out for the rest of your life to pay it off. Like, we have just literally bypassed that. You know, there's so many people under mortgage stress, and you know, we have literally bought the cheapest block of land possible in New South Wales, and we don't have to bust our asses to hang on to it. It's paid for. Like, I did a transfer on the day, and that's the other thing. When you are successful with a property at auction, you then pay for the property straight away. So anything under $10,000, anything over $10,000, it was a 10% deposit, and then you had to finalise within, or settle within 45 days. So all the contracts were signed, and yeah, the property was paid for straight up, bank transfer. The other cost that everyone needs to be aware of is the legal costs involved with the conveyancing. We got a good deal with a conveyancer from Newcastle, so even though the block was $50, we've had to pay transfer fees to have the title put in our name, plus all the searches and that kind of thing. So in total, we probably looked at about $1,100 for all of that. So yeah, if the properties are going for really cheap, don't go crazy buying so many unless you've got the money to finalise and make sure that everything's put in your name and that you're actually listed as the owner. Because what happens is, if you aren't able to do that, if you can't follow through with the transfer, the settlement, all of that, and pay your solicitor, the council will actually repossess it. So it's got to be finalised within their time frame. So yeah, hope this helps. Any questions or comments, and please subscribe so you can keep track of us and our little van life journey that we're on. Cheers.